This right here is a pretty basic enclosure, but today I'm going to show you how to improve it and how to improve your enclosures in Jurassic World Evolution 3. Now today we've got 3 tips. So first of all, this is an enclosure I just built in about 30 seconds. Got some just woodland, brushland and a little tiny water pool. The first tip I'm going to show you is using water. Obviously, you will use water in most enclosures, but you'll probably just put it like this. No. You want to make something that looks interesting. Maybe what you could do is set the radius down, make a nice curving river. Like that. Or maybe something else you could do is make a big old waterfall. Now, building a waterfall in Jurassic World Evolution 3 can be difficult, but what I like to do, instead of just building it, is another tip here for waterfalls: build them in multiple layers. It just makes them look so much better. And there is actually a limit in how high a waterfall can be from the next source of water. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but there is a limit, so you do need to keep that in mind while building waterfalls. You can't make them like absolutely huge. There we go. There we've got ourselves a little waterfall. Now let's have a quick test to see if we can fit it to go down here. Yes, we can. So now, with waterfalls, try and make them look interesting. Try and make them kind of flow in multiple directions down. And layering waterfalls also looks really great. Another tip is to make your waterfalls look more natural, add deep water kind of in the centre to make it look like it's kind of a crater that slowly goes down. Next tip is terraining. Most likely, in an enclosure, in an ecosystem in the wild, nothing is going to be completely flat, and some areas will be raised up or lowered down. So let's raise up some of our woodland areas. And let's just flatten this out so that this woodland area is raised. And then we can smoothen the terrain next to it so that this, the dinosaurs can get up to it. So now we can do that with a few other areas as well. And the end result looks pretty nice. Got a nice kind of layered enclosure. So if we just kind of get in here, the smoothing terrain tool is very useful because you can have like multiple layers of enclosure where your dinosaurs can still access it. So I think that's pretty nice. Leave some layers on the ground because not all of them will be super raised, but just have a few kind of nice raised areas in your enclosure. Let's raise a bit in the corner here, and maybe you can have some area that's like kind of a woodland that slowly goes up. Like look, if I do this here, this area of the woodland is high up, but this area isn't. So you can add a bit of depth to that as well. But you need to make sure your water sources are constantly flowing because of the terrain editing that's cut that water out. So let's just put that back in there. So that's 2 of our 3 tips. And another tip that will come under the training is adding canyons to your water. So let's just, usually when a water flows through a river, it'll make kind of a canyon. Like the Grand Canyon was originally made from a waterfall. So if we remove this water here, we can add it so that it flows in a canyon. If we kind of add a bit of depth here, so let's lower this out. Let's lower this down and kind of mark out where our river's going to flow through this. Let's just turn the radius down a bit. That's what we're going to do. We're going to add this and it's going to kind of flow through the enclosure. And we'll add a bit here where our dinosaurs can actually access it. If we just go ahead and smoothen this out quite a bit. So now dinosaurs can actually get down to the water. Then we can go ahead and add in this water flowing along this canyon. I think making canyons in this game looks really nice. There's no tip. You can't usually mix waterfalls and canyons, but in some instances you can. You can see it's too kind of steep for the waterfall to flow. So there's another few tips for terraining in this game and using water. The final tip is using scenery. Let's go ahead and build something here, and specifically using the in-game rock pieces. So let's go ahead and build something. So I'm going to build a cliff face, and you can see how I use rocks in it. Let's just kind of. Usually, if you want to have all these features in one enclosure, you're going to need quite a big enclosure if you want to have all these features. So then, if we make this little cliff here, then we can smoothen out the sides. Then here, we can get some large rocks. And then we can add these around the cliff face to make it look a little bit nicer than just a default like super jagged rocks. If we kind of add this around here, then there you go, you've got quite a nice little cliff face. And then a little open area here where dinosaurs can get up, and you can put like feeders or nests up on this cliff face, or maybe a second water source. In fact, yeah, we'll put up here another water source. And yeah, if you do it right and you don't make the terrain too steep, dinosaurs will interact with all of this. So let's make this I'm thinking Guanlong for this enclosure. Make this a Guanlong enclosure. And let's also add a third layer to this waterfall to make it actually flow into the river. There we go, look at that. Sometimes when you make your waterfalls even bigger, they look even more stunning. So what we are going to do now is get some Guanlong into this enclosure. Up here, we're going to get rid of the water up here, and using this cliff we've built, we're going to have our live prey feeder. Using this kind of, if we go into first person view, you can see it better. It's kind of sharp angled cliff face, which looks really cool in my opinion. You can get that. So let's put in a feeder up here. And then this should be a pretty suitable habitat. We've got some different elements mixed in. And yeah, try and mix in like woodland and pasture and cover and stuff. Mix them in together, trying to make them look like natural. Because kind of, if your dinosaur likes mainly pasture, kind of mixture in some sparse woodland in between, like little patches of woodland. Now let's get our Guanlong incubated. So now we have added our Guanlong into the enclosure, and as you can see, they will interact and kind of go up and down with stuff. So here we are. As you can see, they will like climb up the mountains and stuff, and none of them have got far enough yet, but they will search kind of up here for the live prey feeders. And you can see this cliff face compared to them looks really good. And the canyon also with these dinosaurs kind of next to it. It looks like a really kind of nice natural environment for them. I mean, look at that. Kind of a nice, really good natural looking environment. So there we go. That is your 3 tips for improving enclosures in Jurassic World Evolution 3. Side note, I was going to do this video on modular building, and then I realised, oh wait, I'm terrible at modular building. And now this Guanlong is going up here so we can see how to look on the cliff face. It's going to look super cool. And also, when you're making cliff faces, you need to add a smoothened area so they can actually get up onto the cliff face. There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel. We're nearly at 200. Woo! Goodbye.